Hello everybody, welcome back to American Textbook Reading. I'm Brian Stuart, and in this lesson we're going over Social Studies Book 4, Lesson 4, Local Governments. And in this lesson, you will discover what local governments do and what different types of government leaders there are. So let's begin. Let's start with the vocabulary as usual. The first word or phrase is actually two words, is local government. I mentioned that in the introduction to this lesson. Local government. When we think about government, there are different types of government. Local government is a government that controls a county, a city, or town, but not a country. So a local government is a smaller government. It might control, like they said, a county, a city, or a town. A town is smaller than a city or a county. A county is a subdivision. In America, a county is a subdivision of a state, right? So let's take the example of California. California is one state, but there are many, many counties, smaller areas in California that have their own local governments, right? Of course, you have the national government that oversees all the states. Then each state has their own state government, and then each county might have their own government as well. Now, of course, if you have a town or a city, that's a large group of people. They need their own government for that town or city. So, government can get very complicated, different types of government. But local government is a small government for a small, specific area. Next, we have tax. Taxes. I hope you don't have to worry about taxes, but when you get older, everybody worries about taxes. Okay, so money, tax is money that the government collects from you. And there are different types of taxes. When you go to the store and buy something, now not in Korea, you don't really, it's not apparent, it might be hidden. But in America, for example, they'll have what we call a sales tax. So let's say you go to the store and you buy an ice cream cone. And the ice cream cone is $1. So do you pay $1? No. You may pay $1.07 because the extra 7 cents is the sales tax on the ice cream. And it doesn't matter what you buy, whether it's ice cream, glue, gas for your car, taxes are added into that. So there's sales tax. There's income tax. When you earn money, you have to pay taxes. A portion of the money that you earn, you have to pay that to local or national government as part of taxes. And that's how the governments get the money that they need to do this, to perform the services that they do for the citizens. So the government collects money from you, but of course the government needs money in order to operate. Budget. So you have to be careful with money, right? And you need to make a plan for spending. Budget really is a plan for spending money. A plan for spending, I'll just put spending because obviously money. Spending, a plan for spending. So it's also the amount of money that is needed for a purpose. Yeah, you could say, if your parents want to buy something. Let's say your family wants to buy a new car. Your parents might say, we don't have the budget for that. Or our budget will not cover that. In other words, they cannot make a proper plan to spend that amount of money because they don't have enough money. But be careful, budget is not money. Budget is a plan to spend money. So, and it's also can be used the amount of money that is needed for a purpose. So you could say a new car will not fit into our budget. It's not correct according to our plan. Okay, so budget. Be careful spending your money. Make a good budget. Okay. City council. Now, we talked about different types of government. We talked about local governments. Now, and remember, local governments can govern a certain area. We talked about town, city, county. And state could be local government too. But if you're talking just about a city council, that is the government that governs a whole city. And it's a council. A council means it is a group of people, right? A council is several people, usually 5, could be 7, 8, 9. Depends on the size of the city and how the city manages its affairs. And usually the council members, they might be in charge of different departments. Like one council member is in charge of making sure the roads are clean and safe. Another council member might be in charge of water or other services that you get at your home. So it depends, on the type of the city. And many different cities have different types of councils. So they're all different. It's very hard to give you an example of just one city council. But it's a city government which makes and passes laws. Now, it's important to realize that, of course, these laws are just for that city, and they do not contradict state or federal law, right? They don't make laws about crimes like murder or burglary. Those are state and federal laws. But they do make laws about when will garbage be collected? If you throw garbage on the street, what is the punishment for that? You can't just throw garbage on the street. What about parking? They will make laws about parking, garbage collection, utilities, electricity and water usage. So they make laws that are very specific and concern local issues. Okay, but big issues like murder, crime, robbery, robbery, other types of crime, those are usually state or federal laws. Okay. Lawmaker. Of course, who makes the laws? Very easy. Lawmaker. It's one word, but a lawmaker is a person who makes law. And there are many different levels. Like we just saw the city council, those people will make laws on a local level. Here we have a picture, and you notice the picture is the United States Senate. So this man is a member of Congress, Senate and House of Representatives. And all those people, what do? They make laws on a national level. They are also called lawmakers. So whether a person makes the laws at the national level, the state level, or the local city or county level, they are all lawmakers. They all make laws. And of course, a democratic society like America and many other countries around the world, laws are the key to having a successful democracy. Everybody must follow or obey the laws, and people need to make the laws. And sometimes the laws are changed for different situations. So being a lawmaker is a very important position, a very important, very responsible position to have in a democratic society. Okay. Constitution. Now, I heard that sometimes people have difficulty pronouncing this, and it's not really the words, it's just putting it all together. Is it easy to say this word? Constitution. When you have a large word like this, it's easy to think about it in different parts. There are 4 different parts, syllables, or in Korean, umjul, right? Sa umjuls. Okay, sorry. But 4 syllables in constitution. What are they? Constitution. So if you're having difficulty pronouncing a large word like this with usually 3 or more syllables, syllable, I'll spell that for you. And remember, syllable is like umjo. I can't talk and write at the same time. Yeah, that's right. Syllable. Syllable is like umjo. It's like you break the word into different syllables. So we say constitution. And then just put those words together a little bit more quickly each time. Constitution, 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 constitution. So it's constitution, okay? And constitution is basically a set of basic laws for a country. So each democratic country in the world will have a constitution. And a constitution just sets what are the basic laws, right? And they usually tell you what are your rights. In America, the Constitution gives people the right to freely assemble, meet, and gather. It gives them the right to say whatever they want as long as they don't harm anybody. It's a little complicated there, but you have freedom of speech. In America, you have the freedom to have a gun, to own a gun. So these are all rights that are given to you in the Constitution. They are laws that are granted to the citizens of a country. Okay, that's a constitution. Next, we have judge. So we talked about lawmakers before, people who make laws, but again, people have to follow the laws. So what happens when people don't follow the laws? Well, then they go to court and they must face a judge. And a judge is a person in a court of law, who decides how the law should be applied. So if someone breaks the law, well, first of all, we have to decide, did they really break the law or not? Some cases are like that. And the judge will say, oh, he didn't break the law. He acted within the law. There was no case. So sometimes that happens. But sometimes, and more often, people obviously break the law. There's no question about that. So the judge has to decide what will the consequence of that be? What will happen to that person because they broke the law? Will they have to pay money or will they go to jail? So how do you apply the law in that case? Next, we have suggest. If you have an idea and you want to give that idea to another person, you say, oh, I have a good idea. I think you should do this. Then you are suggesting your idea. You are introducing your idea, or maybe you have a more formal idea. We call it a plan, and you've written it down. So you have a plan, and you want to introduce this and say, hey, this is a good thing to do. We should do this. Then you are suggesting something. You're suggesting, for example, a course of action. So, and it could be very simple. I suggest we go to the beach this weekend. That's an idea, right? If it's hot and sunny outside, why not? That's a good suggestion. Okay, suggest, suggestion. Okay. Next, we have punishment. Remember, I just talked about judge, and the judge really decides what punishment should be made for someone who breaks the law. A punishment is a penalty. Penalty is a consequence, a negative consequence for doing something wrong. If you do something wrong, your mom might spank you. Now, this is an interesting picture. I had some discussion with a coworker, and we were discussing whether it was legal or not for parents to spank. What is she doing? This action, it's a verb, spank. Is it legal to spank your child? And it's interesting. I didn't know this, but I looked up on the internet. In Europe, in many European countries, it's illegal for parents to spank their children. In America, it's legal. Parents do have the right to spank their children, but they cannot cause harm or injury to that child. Of course not. That would be terrible. But, it's kind of an interesting thing. When I was young, nobody thought about that. I got spanked when I was a bad boy, right? So, it depends, on the degree and the extent of it. But it is a type of punishment. It's a negative consequence to doing something wrong. If you're caught doing something wrong, you will receive a penalty or a punishment. And again, like I said, that could be a fine. Maybe the judge makes you pay money, or the judge says you need to go to jail. Those are also types of punishments. Okay, good. Those are the vocabulary words for this lesson. Okay, let's go over the two main ideas for this lesson. The first main idea is, what do local governments do, right? We're talking about local governments, but what do? They do many different things. First of all, and last of all, they collect taxes, okay? So again, all governments collect taxes. Citizens have to pay taxes. And the taxes, not the citizens, okay? They refers to the taxes. The money, the taxes, go into the government budget, not citizens. Whew, strange. Okay, so citizens have to pay taxes. The taxes go into the government budget. And the government can make a large budget or a small budget depending on how much money they receive in taxes. So they might have a big budget. In other words, they have a big plan and they have a lot of money to spend in the budget, or they might have a small budget. If there's not many people living in the area, they don't collect many taxes, so they might have a small budget, a small plan to spend money. Now, governments also make laws. Local governments make laws. The members of the city council decide what rules citizens should follow. So for example, how fast can you drive your car near a school? Is it legal to ride bikes in this area? Can you ride your skateboard in this area? Can you ride a motorcycle in this area? So those, local laws, local issues, not big issues like big crimes, but local issues. And also, water services, electrical services, garbage cleanup services. These are all regulated by the city council. Now, why do local governments do this? The main purpose of local governments, or any government, of course, is to keep citizens safe. So local governments will oversee police departments, fire departments, and other public services to make sure that everybody is safe and we have the services that we need to live a happy and productive life. So laws help keep the community safe, keep someone safe. All local laws, of course, must follow the Constitution. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. The local government will make laws, but those laws cannot contradict the bigger laws of the state or, of course, the nation. If a local government makes a law that contradicts or goes against the national Constitution, that law will be canceled by a judge. Judges say, no, you can't do that. That is unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. Now that's a really long word, isn't it? We have unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. Sorry, my T's. Unconstitutional. So if something is unconstitutional, it is a law that is passed that violates or goes against the national Constitution, and that local law will be deleted. It will be erased. It will be struck down by a judge, and it won't be a proper law. It'll go away. Okay, but local governments obviously should make laws that keep citizens safe. Okay. Next, we have government leaders. What types of government leaders are there? And again, I've been talking about different types of government: small government, local government, state government, national government. And that's what we see here. So what is an example of a leader in a local government? We already talked about city council, right? That's a group of people who decide on certain matters. But usually in most cities, they also have a mayor. And a mayor, he's kind of like the president of your town or your city. Or he or she, of course. And they kind of have executive power over the city council. Sometimes, of course, they need the support of the city council, and they work with the city council, but they also make decisions on their own. And they kind of steer or guide the policies of the city or the town. This actually is a picture of a very famous mayor. I believe that's Mike Bloomberg. He's the famous mayor of New York City. So, of course, really big cities and famous cities, the mayor is very popular, and maybe everybody in the country knows about that mayor. So the mayor of New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, usually they can become very nationally recognized figures or leaders. Smaller towns, no, they're just known in that smaller town. But anyway, it's an important position to have in a local community. That's in the local government. Now, the state government level, of course, we have the governor of a state. And a governor, again, he or she is like the president of a whole state. Now, this is a picture of a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know, maybe you're too young, but Arnold Schwarzenegger became famous as an action movie star in America. And before that, he was a bodybuilder. And before that, he wasn't American. He immigrated from Austria, and he became the governor of California. So again, America is a kind of an interesting nation that an immigrant, somebody who grows up in another country, can move to America and become a governor of a state. They can't become the president of the United States. They have to be born in the United States, but they can become a governor. And that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger did. He became the governor of California. And it's kind of like being the president of a state. That is the state leader. They decide policy and they shape laws for the entire state. Okay, on the national government, we have president of a country. Now, of course, you know the president, he or she is the leader of the entire country. And of course, this is a picture of Barack Obama, who was the first black president of America from 2008 to 2016. So he's the president of a country, and the president of a country, of course, sets the direction for the policies and the laws that are decided for a country. So you have different levels. So it's like presidential level in each area. So a mayor is like the president of a city, the governor is like the president of a state, and the president, of course, is the president of the nation. Okay, good. So these are different types of government leaders. Okay, now it's time to go over the reading. So as usual, I will read it out loud. Practice with me. Concentrate on the pronunciation of the different words, and of course, focus on the key vocabulary from the lesson. Are you guys ready? Let's begin. In every community, the local government works to improve the lives of its community members. Citizens have to pay taxes to keep their government working. Taxes in a community go into the government budget and are used to make the community better. In a city or town, the members of the city council act as lawmakers. They decide what kinds of rules citizens should follow. All local laws must follow the Constitution. The Constitution is the most important law in a country. Judges in the law courts have a very important job. They work hard to keep the community safe. A judge has the power to decide if laws are fair and suggest law changes. The laws are made to keep the citizens safe and happy. If people break them, they will get a punishment. If people break them, they will be punished. Okay, or they get a punishment. Okay. Okay, so how is this reading passage organized? In this case, it has a main idea and then details to support that main idea. So what is the main idea for this passage? We have the beep works to improve the lives of its community members. So we talked about different types of government, right? We said there's a national government, a state government, and a city or county government. And when we talk about the small types of governments, it's a local area, so we could say the local government. The local government works to improve. Govern. Now, government is interesting. I always misspell it because the R is like a little bit silent. People say government. Well, R is not silent. Government, but the N is silent. The N is silent. So I always get confused with the R and N, or I used to. But just think of it this way, government. Don't pronounce it like that. It's government. Government. It's like the N is silent. We don't really pronounce the N. So it's government. But it is RN. Okay, so government. Well, I'm overpronouncing. Government. Okay, government. Okay, so the local government works to improve the lives of its community members. Citizens have to pay what to keep the government working? Well, of course, everybody in a country needs to have something in order to keep working, and that is money. But how do governments get money? They get money through taxes. So citizens have to pay taxes to keep their government working. In tax, X, after X, we put ES for plural. Taxes. So have to pay taxes to keep their government working. Okay, so the members of the beep decide what kinds of rules citizens should follow. The members of now you could use local government again, but what type of local government do we have in a city or a town? Remember, we have a group of people who decide or make laws in that community, and we could call that, and there's members, so there's more than one. There's several members of the what? Of the city council. Of the city council. So it's two words. Council. Yeah, okay, this pen. Yeah, that's right. C-O-U-N. Okay, council. The city council decide what kinds of rules citizens should follow. If people break the laws, they will get a, or they're trying to trick you, and, right? But it's a, right? They will get a what? They won't get a spanking. They'll get a fine or a prison sentence, and that is a type of punishment. Punishment. Okay, so if people break the laws, they will get a punishment. Now, that's fine. It does sound a little bit awkward to me. I would say they will be punished. That's enough, but it doesn't matter. You could say either way. They will be punished. Punished. Yeah. So they will be punished, or they will receive some kind of penalty. Okay. So penalty is punishment. Okay, so if people break the laws, they will get a punishment, or they will be punished. So don't break the laws, obviously. So in this lesson, we talked about local governments and what they do, right? They collect taxes, they help people stay safe and happy, and they make laws, and judges enforce the laws. Of course, judges are part of the local government as well. It's an interesting lesson to think about and to read more about, to learn more about your community and how it works. So anyway, thanks as usual for studying with me, and I hope to see you in the next lesson. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.